Hey, what's up? This your boy Big Man. You already know what it is, man. So let's get right to it. Okay, so today we're gonna be talking about Jim Jones and Wack 100. Now, allegedly, they got some type of beef going on, and it's weird because they're not talking to each other. They're using different people to talk through or different situations to get out how they feel about each other. And it's weird because it's all being orchestrated, if you ask me, by a third party, meaning the other rapper that Wack 100 was in an interview with. It seems like he's behind this pulling strings again, and I see where this is going to end. It's going to end with somebody not involved with anything that has to do with him getting hurt, arrested, or something of that nature. Now, before we get into the specifics, do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and man, let's get it. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, man, first things first, I want to preface this by saying I don't know if any of this is real. Now, I don't mean real in the sense that these aren't real people or anything of that nature. I mean, I don't know if any of these beefs are real, if any of these arguments are real, if any of this is really a problem that these people have with each other, or are they trying to drum up attention, drum up all these eyes on what's going on, getting people involved and emotionally gripped into this so that they can hype up something else for a bigger payday down the line. I mean, the latter seems like more of what's going on to me. But I don't know. When you add Jim Jones and you have people from jail on the phone talking crazy, and we're going to get to that in a second, it adds another element to this where I'm like, okay, this is real, at least on that end. You know what I mean? There's actually some real deal things that might be going on. Now, what's crazy is I'm talking ambiguously, right? But I'm talking about the whole situation between Jim Jones and Wack 100. Now, Jim Jones and Wack 100, to my knowledge, didn't have any type of problem. Now, they obviously rep the same thing. They seem like I've never seen them in the room together, to be honest. I don't think I've ever seen Wack 100 interact with Jim Jones. I've maybe seen the game interact with Jim Jones when they had that song together, but I don't know about their relationship previous to when Wack 100 started messing around with the other rapper. Now, the other rapper is the rapper that he did the podcast with academics. Now, you guys can look that up, all the information about that or whatnot. But it seems like there's a wedge being drawn by him and, between Jim Jones and Wack 100. It seems like it's the same old game. And I wonder why people don't pick this up. Because there's obviously a bigger play at hand here. You know what I mean? I'm not going to sit back and look at this and not think that something else is going on than what's meets the eye, than what we're seeing in front of us right now. And when it comes to dude, there's always some type of pulling strings. Now, where this gets crazy is he won't be there for the fallout. You know what I mean? If there's an issue that's going to be between Wack 100 and Jim Jones, nobody else is going to be there for the fallout, and probably somebody from their camps or somebody close to them, if it goes to this extent, will get hurt or either arrested. You know what I mean? Dude will be in the background laughing like the last time, man. And that's why I think that Wack 100 might be playing too close to dude, man. I think he held his ground in that interview and said a lot of good points. Try to, teach a lesson to the young folks about, the dangers and the harms of being in the streets and stuff like that. But, man, when it comes to the future, just banking on a payday, that might happen, that might not happen, or might be a big payday, but having to do all this grunt work where you're getting into beefs and people in order to drum up the hype for the event, man, that could be a costly thing, man. That could be a costly thing. And I mean, I understand, man, the payday at the end might be worth, the juice might be worth the squeeze in this situation. You know what I mean? They did a good point about talking about going to war and the cost of war and stuff like that. And maybe they've evaluated all this and Jim Jones is on the platter. Now, this is what spawned all the issue between Jim Jones and Wack 100 within the last 24 hours. So Wack 100 took to social media and he basically addressed, and DJ Academics posted this, and it was a long video, and he addressed some of the concerns that the other rapper had about Jim Jones. Now, when the other rapper was going through his trial or whatever, some audio had leaked between Jim Jones and another gentleman by the name of Mel Murder, aka Mel Matrix, and where the words came out to super violate the other rapper, right? Now, after that, everybody else went to jail. Jim Jones didn't. Jim Jones didn't go to jail. There weren't any charges pressed against him. So this led people to believe that he was working with the laws and that he was actually telling and an informant on the low. And the other rapper has been spreading this and been putting that out there, allegedly, right? So Wack100 had those same concerns and those same questions, and that's what he phrased on it. That's what he put out there. He basically put those same questions and concerns out there. Also, he talked about an arrest that Jim Jones allegedly had in Virginia or maybe even North Carolina where there were weapons involved, and it seemed like those charges had just gone away. And they were wondering what caused that. How come his charges just disappeared like that? Now, as far as I'm concerned, and as far as what I know about, hip hop and street rappers and all that, because like I said, I am not a street dude. It seems like valid concerns, because there's always like a checks and balances system when it comes to those people who are really about that. And they seem like valid concerns, right? Well, Jim Jones was not feeling that. So he took to social media and posted a clip of his own where he was actually talking to Mel Murder, aka Mel Matrix, and he was voicing some concerns of his own as well. Well, let's be real. Mel Matrix was saying what Jim Jones wanted him to say it sound like. Even though he's his own man, probably does his own thing, it seems like he was coaxed in some way to say those things, and maybe he does feel like that, but he wasn't on that call unless Jim Jones wanted him to say those things. Now, in the audio clip that was released, you can hear Mel Matrix taking shots and jabs at Wack100's validity in the streets. He says a lot of things about Wack100 that, you could just classify as a diss, man. He makes some disparaging remarks. We'll call it that, right? And it seems like, man, he's just siding with Jim Jones. And Jim Jones is taking a back seat and saying, well, tell him who you talking about. Kind of coaching him through the conversation. And he's obviously talking on the phone from jail. Now, Wack100 took to social media to talk about this and say, hey, Jim Jones, he can call him up. They can talk. They have each other's numbers or whatnot. But it seems like Jim Jones finds himself being boxed in on one end. You know what I mean? So he felt like that was the appropriate way to respond because him and Wack100 take a lot of pride in the fact that they believe that they're street dudes or whatever. You know what I mean? Or ex-street dudes, you know what I mean? Because Wack100 said he don't want to be a street dude. And I've never heard Jim Jones actually say that he was a street dude or anything like that either. You know what I mean? Lately. Now, to be honest, like I said earlier in the intro, this seems like something that's being drummed up by other parties just to get somebody caught up. Now, if they both keep actively going after each other online without, trying to squash this, I see this having some horrible effects, for their career or the long-term outcome of how they have their future planning or whatnot in the hip-hop game. Now, Jim Jones has been occupied recently with getting a lot of backlash from the Versus battle where Dipset was the clear favorite going in and ended up getting washed. But all these claims that everybody is coming with at him right now seem like, man, they're catching more attention than even the Versus battle. Now, in the last 24 hours, man, things have been going pretty crazy on this subject, and I'm just going to be standing by to see where this goes from there. Now, to keep the record straight, Jim Jones was arrested, and it was actually in Georgia in 2018 with 4 other people, and it was allegedly, some substances and weapons found when they were actually, caught because there was a high-speed chase and a whole nine, you know what I mean? So Jim Jones's response to all this and to how he's still free should be interesting for at least the fans to get an understanding of where he's at, on that legal situation. I'm trying to shoot him a little bit of bail, and I'm trying to keep it a little PC. Now, with that, what do you guys think? Do you think that Jim Jones is getting exposed by Wack100 and the other rapper? Or do you feel there might be more to this story than we know? He might still be fighting the situation because it was in 2018, even though that was 3 years ago. Sometimes these things take a while. Now, with that, this has been your boy Big Man. Do me a favor. Oh, hold up. But what do you think about Wack100? Do you think he's playing too close to the other rapper, hoping for a big payday at the end? Isn't that what went on with his crew the last time, and that's what ended up getting them caught up in situations? Okay, now with that, this has been your boy Big Man. Do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and make sure you hit that notification bell so that way you get a notification every time I drop this hot content. And we out of here. Peace.